Hey, I hope you're all doing well. It's been a little while, actually longer than I would like if I'm being completely honest, but I've been editing a Mask of Bacchus build video. It's really cool, and I'm wanting to edit this one well, and I'm liking it so far. It's got this cool kind of like gaming montage intro. Maybe I'm not selling it as as well as I thought, but it's cool. I'm really excited to get this video out. Hopefully by the end of the week. It just needs a little bit more time to bake in the oven. I don't want to rush this and have like all the effort be at the start and then just have it massively fall off in quality towards the end. So yeah, it needs a little longer, and that's what I'm working on at the minute. But apart from that, there is another video I've got planned, which is not this, but this is kind of working towards it. It's going to be a recap of all 18 of the builds that I did before Edge of Fate launch. Obviously, Edge of Fate has been just game-changing as far as the stat rework, so I'm getting questions now on old build, that wasn't English, on old build videos where it's like, hey, do you still use this build, and what are the changes that you would think about making with stats? And I don't have a good place to point people in the direction of, not helped by the fact that my builds are also a lot more off meta and a little niche, so I can't really be like, oh, you know, someone else has done a build like this and they can tell you. So yeah, it's something that I think I need to do because, again, the Edge of Fate changes have been so drastic as far as what they have done for the game, and I almost feel like those old build videos aren't complete because they're missing the new Edge of Fate stats. So it's something I need to get done. But the way that the video is going to be structured is I'm starting with Hunters first, then Titans, and then Warlocks. But for each class, the build that you see at the start, or the ones that you see earlier on, are going to be the builds which have had the most drastic changes, or that I think have been buffed up more than any others. And that is what you're seeing here. This originally was called Guishin's Glow Up. I made the build video at the time where Guishin got a buff to drop smokes whenever you exit invis near an enemy, and also that you no longer needed to get kills with Spectral Blade in order to get the super energy returned, so it procs off of hits as well. And yeah, it was a massive glow up for the build, as in Guishin's Glow Up, that's why it was the title. But because of Edge of Fate and being able to stack more damage up into your super, this build somehow has got a glow up I put kind of on par with what it originally received. It is so much better. I had two gripes with this build. One being that it could have done with a little bit more super damage. Its total damage, really good, but its ability to burst down targets wasn't amazing. And then the second thing was, not that I mentioned it, but survivability could sometimes be a problem. You've got Invis, you've got Devour, but you don't really have a consistent way of getting DR to stack alongside that healing, which is something that you see a lot of the top big dog builds do. They can get something like Restoration or Woven Mail. They just have ways of getting DR and healing. Both of those things have been completely fixed in Edge of Fate, or buffed, I guess is a better word. With super damage, that comes in the form of 200 super stats. I don't have that here because I was chasing after a really specific armor set bonus, which I'll get round to in a second. So I'm running 160 super stats, but that still clocks in at around a 30% damage bonus to Spectral Blades, so nothing to scoff at all. And it solves the one problem I had, is that I couldn't stun a champ, pop super, and then kill. Literally, perfect example you are watching right here. That right there was not possible before. You just didn't have the damage to do it, and quite often, specifically with overloads, which is really why I wanted to go into a piece of content which had overloads present so I could demonstrate that well. You're now able to kill them before they start recovering health. Such a good change. Oh, also, at the time recording, if you're wondering why my super just went up super quick, there are like these little wells on the ground that you can stand in that give you like grenade energy or melee energy, and that one was a super there. Don't worry, I promise you I'm not hacking. I probably would have been banned if not. But yeah, I forgot where I was. Oh, talking about overloads. Yeah, you're now able to stun them and then pop super, and you'll be able to kill them before they recover. Such a good change for when you went for, that wasn't even English, for when you want to take this build into the high end. It now does it really confidently. I'm doing this, I think it's a minus 43 GM, I want to say. When you get to minus 50, you can't do it as reliably. That's where the damage just isn't bursty enough. But if you're doing minus 50 content, odds are you're probably going to be doing it with other people. I just like doing the solo stuff because it's kind of like the challenge content that I like doing, specifically with GMs. But yeah, you're going to have no problem as long as you're with a teammate who could maybe put like a chill clip into an overload or something like that. Much less of a problem with barriers. They're by far the easiest champs to deal with because you can stun them and then they have like a bit of a longer time before they recover. So yeah, not so much of a problem with barriers. But yeah, it's minus 50 is where you begin to see that drop off a little bit. But minus 45 to minus 40, you can solo champs, which is so good. That was the one gripe that I have with this build. The other thing, which has been so just drastically game-changing for this build, has been the armor bonuses that you get, the 2 and 4 piece. And this is one that we've only just got recently, but it has been by far the most impactful set bonus, which is the ride or die bonus of... damn it, I forgot the name. No. Okay, the 2-piece perk is called Ride or Die. You pick up an orb and you get decaying DR for 3 seconds. I think it starts at around 45 DR, and then as the timer goes down, it will drop down to 30, and then 15, and then 0. Kind of the breakpoints to think of. This build absolutely prints out orbs. It runs triple heavy-handed, and we do that because every source of smoke that you make in this build, so on the prowl, Guishan, and then just your snare bombs as well, all of them are coded as melees, so you're able to spawn an absolute ton of orbs. And as well, heavy-handed also affects Spectral blades, so any kills you get whilst inside of that super are also coded as melee kills, or powered melee kills, and will then trigger heavy-handed. So you make an absolute ton of orbs. Really good. Which means that you have access to that DR a lot more than you think. It becomes very consistent. Kind of in a similar way that Combination Blow can use this set bonus to just get pretty much free damage resist. You can do the same thing here. And it's really nice. But the bonus of this being is that it's only a 2-piece perk bonus. So you can shove anything else here. This build also runs special ammo finisher because of the amount of orbs that it makes. So the trials one where you pick up an ammo brig works really well. Bushido's bonus also works really well. That's what I'm using in the gameplay. You could even go for... it's so annoying that I can't remember the name of the sets. The 4-piece bonus of this set, the Ride or Die one, you could go for because that's also based around using a finisher. And again, we're special ammo finisher, we're incentivized to do it. I'm trying to think of... Those are the big ones I can think of for the time being. Bushido's 4-piece could work, but the Ride or Die one is definitely the one that I lean more towards, just because of how many orbs this build can make. It's got the fragment where you make an orb on killing a weakened target, so we've got orbs there. We've got Harmonic Siphon for void weapons, which we're, at least you'll mainly be seeing through Slayer's Fang here. But yeah, again, heavy-handed, that's... we make a ton of orbs. Another thing with this build is, because you're wanting to go for high super stats, that means you're going to want to get Paragon Armor. And you might think, oh, you know, melee stat in a Void build, it's not really that good. It's really good. because again, all of your smokes are coded as melees, so any extra damage that you get from melee stats affects all 3 of the smokes that you make. Again, Guishin on the prow, and just snare bombs that you're going to be throwing anywhere. So having melee stat there is really nice as well. For the other stats I'd recommend, again, this is why I need to make this whole build video, so I don't have to go on like a whole ramble about what is and isn't good. It can be condensed. I would say class is probably what I would prioritize, and then after that I would go for grenade. On the prowl gives you some passive ability regen whenever you get an on the prowl mark kill. So yeah, having extra stat points in those things that on the prowl can give you energy for is really nice. You'll see that the abilities sometimes just chunk upwards. I haven't got amazing stats as far as grenade goes and class, but even so, with low stat, it's still pretty good. And yeah, here again you can see this before we couldn't do, and now, awesome. Absolutely can do. One thing with Spectral, which I wish they did, because it would absolutely solve its overload problem where, you know, look, I'm in this really long super and I can't do anything against these champs. If they put suppression on the right click, or your heavy attack, because suppression is overload stun, that would make it feel so much better. Sometimes I feel like I get in staring competitions with overloads with this build, because they'll just be there and I'll be like, yep, we literally can't do anything to each other and I'm just going to wait for my super to run out. It's not a great feeling. Suppression is also a keyword which I don't think is all that impactful, so yeah, if they did that, I would be Bungie's #1 friend. I want Spectral Blades to get all the buffs. It's such a cool super. Oh man, just when I was recording footage for this build, I was like, damn it, man, I really missed using this build. It's still as good as I remember, and through stats, even better. So yeah, if you're looking for a sign to use Spectral Blades, let this be it. It's a really, really cool build. The one thing with Spectral Blades, you're going to see it as I get towards the boss room, is that this thing's total damage is so good. As far as supers go, I know that you can bundle up a lot more burst with weapons and stuff like that, but it's just so much fun to sit in front of really, really dangerous enemies in this super that can make you invis. On the prowl is also something that you get access to whilst you're in Spectral Blades. So yeah, you'll be slipping in and out of invis. It's a really, really difficult super to kill. Again, if you're using this for kind of ad clear, you'll also be getting Devour, assuming that you've picked up an orb or a Void Breach from the fragment that gives you Devour on pick up an orb or a Void Breach. So yeah, it's really survivable as well. One thing I am kind of interested in seeing, we've got the Desert Perpetual epic raid coming out soon. I would be curious as to how much of the health regen you get from its 4-piece bonus. I think it's like on casting your super and on dealing extra damage, you get health regen, I want to say, and some other effects. There's something in there to do with dealing super damage. Obviously, this is a super spam build, so yeah, that's something I need to go in and farm and test properly. But for the time being, the Ride or Die 2-piece bonus, along with just any other good 2-piece bonus, it's been so good for this build. Genuinely, between the stats and that, a glow up on top of the glow up it originally got with all of its buffs. And yeah, in the boss room, you'll see what I mean in a second when I just pop super and start laying into the boss about having good total damage. This super before, they made a change where before Spectral Blade was affected by melee stat as well as super stat. There are a few supers, I think Song of Flame was one of them, Silk Strike was definitely one of them, Raiden Flux, or Raiden Flux? Raiden or Raiden? I'm not sure. Anyway, yeah, the Arc Staff Super with that exotic did some ridiculous amounts of damage. Like, genuinely, the kind of thing you could think about taking into a raid scenario and just pump out some stupid damage. For some reason, we've just had stuff like that. Just abilities that can absolutely nuke bosses. We've had so many of them. It's been grapple hunters with synthos, then it's been no ammo swords, then it's been supers that use super stat and melee stat. There's just been so much stuff where bosses have just not stood a chance. I think this is actually the first kind of period of calm where something hasn't just been completely and utterly broken, and I mean that in the sense of like not working properly. Not like the oh my god, it's so OP kind of way. But yeah, it's the first time in a short while that we've had like a moment of calm. And yeah, one thing as a content creator, and I'm sure other people have probably had the exact same thing, it feels like there's a new bug a week that somehow breaks the game, and keeping up with all of them, it's been so different. I've gone into build videos, and for example, the build recap, which I was talking about at the start, originally this was up at the top, again for the reason that certain supers were affected by melee and super stat, and I was like, hey, Spectral Blades right now is ridiculously good. And then like next week it got changed, and I was like, oh, okay, right, time to just edit half of my script. Because yeah, a load of things just changed. So I'm really looking forward to, touch wood, hopefully a little bit of stability. I think the bugs are starting to get worked out a little bit more. And in all honesty, that's been the part of the game that has kind of been on my mind or bothered me the most. Just because the sandbox side of stuff, obviously I'm like a build crafter, that's what I do. So seeing the sandbox be in a bad way is much more what bothers me than like power progression, for example. Don't get me wrong, power progression is a problem. I understand why people are annoyed or angry over it, but at the same time, I don't think I really suffer those problems as much as other people, because you're talking to the guy who will go into a solo GM. I could literally spend an entire evening dying and walk out, got no rewards, got no levels, and still have fun. Again, power progression, it absolutely needs to improve. I still don't think it's there yet, but I'm much more bothered about the bugs, specifically ones that are affecting sandbox and abilities. That's the thing that really kind of rubs me the wrong way and has irked me a little bit about the state of the game, or at least the way that it's been. I don't want to doom post. Please don't expect anything like that from me. I'm not wanting to become some rallying cry for people to get pitchforks out and whatnot, but I'm really glad those bugs are starting to be worked out. The Bacchus video, I was originally working with footage when I was kind of working on getting footage for that video, which was bugs. Quite often you wouldn't see the class reset from combination blow go off, and yeah, man, it sucked. I want to show people full builds that they can watch and just know that everything is going to be working well. So yeah, again, it's good to see that some of these things are being worked on, being tweaked, and that hopefully we're seeing some impactful changes. Very nice. For the rest of the build, I can't believe I've got this far. I haven't actually talked about the build. Sorry. It is an on the prowl stylish executioner for aspects. Grecian Vest is the exotic, and then I'm using Slayer's Fang. It gets the seasonal bonus at the moment. I know that's something that Bungie is changing, and they're just saying, listen, every single exotic now gets the seasonal bonus, but it's got it, so that's really nice. And it's also just really good in this build. You don't actually have access to many ways to kind of like on-demand debuff enemies to start a combo loop. Once you're inside of On the Prowl, once you're inside of being able to melee stuff with Stylish Executioner, and once you're invis, absolutely no problem. But the way that you kind of start getting an invis chain going is really through your Snare Bomb. or using a gun that can apply destabilizing rounds, weaken targets, and those are the ways. So Demoralize is pretty good here, but Slayer's Fang just for its ability to do weaken so conveniently. Again, Void debuff, so that's going to proc Stylish Executioner, and then that's going to proc on the Prowl, and that's where the whole loop of the build comes from. It's really, really nice. For the other guns in the build, you can run double special so conveniently here. The honestly limiting factor is how often you actually remember to use special finisher. I find a lot of the time I'll be sat on top of orbs that I could use to special finisher something and I just don't because yeah, sometimes I forget. And honestly, you can special finisher one enemy, get one kill, and then you'll probably be able to special finisher again. It's super spammy. Double special is something that works really nicely here. I'm also a absolute glazer of crossbows. I have loved them. I thought that they were going to be... I was kind of thinking not so good. I think Temporal Blast is definitely something that was helping them big time. But seeing that Bungie nerfed Temporal Blast and still being able to do a lot of really cool stuff with them, I think they're good. Really good for double special builds as well. Your ability to have a gun that can refund ammo is really nice. And specifically for this build as well, where you get access to so much invis. Again, I'm not doing a great example here of showing it, but you can just put a ton of shots into a boss, for example, and then just go invis, and then just go and pluck all of those bolts out, and then just walk away. It's really, really convenient against big, healthy targets to do so. Again, this is just a Spectral Blades Grecian moment. And there we go. Solo GM, finito. I hope you've enjoyed me rambling for a little bit. Hopefully the Bacchus build video is going to be coming up. And then, yeah, the Ionic Sentry Warlock build as well is one I cannot wait to do. And the Deadshot Golden Gun changes are also really nice. Drip check and... 276 kills, 209 orbs. That's honestly on the low end, but still pretty good. And yeah, you can see 22 minutes. That was minus 43, I want to say, as far as light goes. And then here's the build: Spectral Blades, Gamblers, Snare Bomb. Grenade can be anything really. On the Prowl, Stylish, Reprisal, Harvest, Starvation, Persistence, Expulsion. Tenacious, Slayer's Fang, Submersion, which is the stasis crossbow. And then, yeah, you can see Grecian Best there. Harmonic Siphon, one hands on, Special Finder, triple heavy-handed, that's an important one. Charged up, resist again, stacks on stacks and absolution, double Reaper, and a special finisher. And then those are the artifact mods there. Nothing really that has too much synergy with Void, but you can still work some stuff in. And yeah, that's about it from me. See ya.